1,014 receiving yards already this season. Goodness. He's the fourth player in the NFL history to get 1,000 yards in his team's first 8 games, and the first since Charlie Hennigan and the Houston Oilers back in 1960.
Top 3 this week, though. I'll give it to this team right here. Give it to me right now, please. Bang! The Miami Dolphins, the most prolific offense in the National Football League, with the scariest offensive player this generation may have ever seen. You see this brother Tyreek Hill and what he's doing right now, on pace for 2,000 yards now, still doing his thing. Tua Tagovailoa, an MVP candidate as well. Of course, you know the rest of the crew that they got with Waddle and the boys, and their defense ain't that shabby. The bottom line, they handled the New England Patriots, but more importantly, they're still atop the AFC North. We understand that. The Buffalo Bills are on the come up. They skunked them a few weeks ago, but we know the Buffalo Bills have been up and down. I can't throw the Dolphins to the side. I got to give them some love.
He and Jalen Waddle both go over 100 yards. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's like the 5th or the 6th time that they've done that in the same game. And, I mean, what do we say about Reed? What do we say about Tyreek?
When people, and I'm going to say it again, and I say it over and over and over. When we talk about Tyreek, when we talk about top 5, when we talk about, let's stay within this era of football. We talk about the best players. Tyreek is in his own category. And that's why I always say, and I've been saying it for the past 2 years, don't ask me to do top 5 because Tyreek is in a class of his own. And that's with all due respect to all the other players, but it's just unfair.
They don't possess what he possesses.
It's unfair, the combination of speed, size. I mean, the fact that he's small, he can go across the middle.
But I'm glad. Deep. Can you imagine if he was Randy Moss height? With that kind of...
then if you're just a deep threat, then everybody backs up and stop you. You know, you just back up and say, we're not going to let you go deep. What makes him the greatest deep threat is if you back up and say, we're not letting you go deep. This little short dude, this little fast dude, will run across the middle, get the ball, and come on, run back right by you in your deep threat zone. You see a lot of the guys that ran up the field that fast won't go across the middle that fast. He will.
Are Tyreek and Tua the best quarterback and wide receiver duo in the league right now?
No. They're up there. They're certainly, statistically, you're not going to be able to argue their success. So right now, they're in the conversation. I think sometimes those are a little silly, like who's better than whom. I would take them all day, every day, obviously, because they may set every record in the history of professional football. And again, here's the question. Is Tyreek Hill unguardable?
Yeah.
He is.
He is flat out unguardable. Absolutely. When you think
Let me ask you about one of those young wide receivers, Tyreek Hill. He's putting up crazy numbers, potentially. He talked about 2,000 yards for a while. He was on pace for 3,000 yards. You were very close to winning an MVP on a number of occasions. Can Tyreek be that guy? If he gets 2,000 yards, should he be the MVP of the NFL?
Well, I think he has a great chance because speed kills, man. And, what's happening, you cannot play him one-on-one. You cannot play him bump and run. And you cannot play him, man-to-man. So he's making plays over the middle. He's making, he's catching deep balls. He's doing everything. I think he has a great chance of being the most valuable player.
Game yesterday, Jalen Waddle, star receiver, tweeted out the cheetah effect. What in the hell is the cheetah effect? Let's take a look. This is Tyreek Hill, the man they call Cheetah. Many of you already know this. What you might not know, he has an NFL record over 1,000 yards receiving through 8 games. Tyreek Hill, number 10 at the bottom of the screen. Now, I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. Bear with me. The defense all week long in meetings, they have circled this dude, and they have said, do not let Tyreek Hill beat you. The defensive coordinator walks into the meeting room. He yells at everybody and says, hey, you keep your eyes on Tyreek Hill wherever he goes. If he goes to the bathroom to take a crap, you flush the toilet. If he goes to the bathroom to take a piss, you tap off the last 3 drops. Oh, pause. Anyway, you know where Tyreek Hill is. It's 3rd and 1. 2 minutes, 49 seconds left. The Dolphins are up by 7. The Patriots have to get a stop. This is the cheetah effect. Tyreek Hill, he's going to go in motion. Being covered right now by Jack Jones, number 13. Number 13 is going to run with Tyreek Hill. But remember what the defensive coordinator said all week long. You do not let Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, beat you. This man, number 31, Jonathan Jones, he heard the same thing. So Jonathan Jones sees Tyreek Hill running in motion. He vacates his responsibility. He's like, I'm not going to let Cheetah beat me. Jack Jones, he's like, I'm not going to let Cheetah beat me. Problem. They let Jalen Waddle beat him. Jalen Waddle, he's sitting there, hand in the air like, hey, big dog, if they both gonna run with Tyreek Hill, don't forget your boy. Hand up, easy 7, Dolphins score, Dolphins win. And that right there, that's the cheetah effect. He takes 2, Jalen Waddle says, I'll take 6.
Like the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Jerry Rice said, speed kills. The cheetah effect, and definitely the cheetah has had a huge impact on the Dolphins. It's been huge on and off the field. He's basically changed his whole franchise, from the perception around the league, from the you can go to a game and you can see the kids wearing Tua Tagovailoa, but also Tyreek Hill's jersey all over the place. His attitude is contagious when it's being unreal. But I want to start with you, Steve. I want to know your thoughts about the cheetah effect, the effect that Tyreek Hill has had on the Dolphins this year.
It's great to have a player like Tyreek Hill that captivates the attention of the country, because it's been a long time since Miami's been in that environment. Frankly, I think from a positive production standpoint, Tua is always polarizing in ways that I don't understand with media, but Tyreek does it in a different way where everybody knows who Tyreek Hill is. We had just beat the Patriots in week 2. My friend, longtime Patriot, he's from Boston, longtime Pats fan, messaged me and he's like, hey, you guys, great game, but I just want to say I'm happy because I have Tyreek Hill on my team, my fantasy team. So, but his impact on the field is undeniable. He opens it up for everybody else. For years we said we can't pass because we don't have a running game, or we can't run because we can't establish a passing game. Frankly, it was just because we were a use case in futility for offense in the NFL. Tyreek Hill opens it up automatically for us. When he's on the field, he opens it up for us. And Mike McDaniel does a lot of that too, because sometimes you'll see both Hill and Waddle sitting on the sideline and we're still able to move the ball. But Tyreek Hill, he's not just been a great impact on the field, opening up for everybody else. Frankly, he's a great model for the rest of the team. And I'm not going to speak about personal life stuff. I'm talking about how he is in the locker room. He's a consummate professional from the time he steps into the locker room and sets the example for young players and veterans alike on how they need to transact their lifestyle if they want to be at the top of the game. And we have it's a privilege to be able to watch him play for the Dolphins and show the impact that he has on the rest of the team. Last thing I'll say about this, that Tua effect, I was thinking about it before the Acho post. He drew everybody over there to the point that you leave, frankly, somebody that could be number 1 wide receiver on a lot of NFL teams just wide open. And that was the one where he did the Steve strut, after Tua tossed the ball, that Matt was talking about earlier. But yeah, so it's great to have Cheetah on the team. It's a definite impact on and off the field.
Absolutely. You see, the Dolphins are trending. I saw Darren Rovell yesterday do a post where he put 4 kids on a street and said, the kids in New Jersey dress as dolphins. Like, that's amazing. The fact that of course Tyreek Hill, but Tua Tagovailoa and Mike McDaniel, it's been a huge change for the whole franchise. But I want to know your thoughts, Matt. What's your thoughts about the cheetah effect, the effect that Tyreek Hill has had with the Dolphins?
I think Jerry Rice is the best wide receiver I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
And the stats don't deny that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really, really interested in hearing his thoughts when he was asked, and speed kills was essentially the answer. One thing about the clip you just showed that I really appreciated was, you notice how many receivers were responding to the question?
Exactly.
Because they know, right? Michael Irvin, Shannon Sharp, obviously Jerry Rice. And then you get some of the other pundits who, the one guy who, they're in the conversation. No. Tyreek Hill is the best wide receiver in the NFL today. But I say that with a caveat that the that football is the ultimate team sport. If you have a breakdown in one spot, it will take your legs out from under you, figuratively and literally. So there's a lot going on in that clip of the clear out where Jalen Waddle had the wide open touchdown. Um, that's the effect. That's the cheetah effect, but that's also the entire team working as one. The Patriots following him over there, that's getting your legs cut out from under you. That's the mistake they made. And it is 100% because the Dolphins offense is working it's simpatico with each piece is working together. It's why we don't talk so much about the offensive line, which has been a conundrum for 40, 50 years, it seems like. The cheetah effect is real, and it's almost embarrassing to look at the other wide receiver, as Steve said. That's Jalen Waddle over there. So who is the real effect? Maybe it's not the cheetah effect. Maybe it's the Dolphins wide receiver effect. It's an embarrassment of riches, and I'm just glad number 10 and number 17 are wearing our colors.
Absolutely. And if you've watched, that probably happened to you too, guys. If you're watching another team game, it looks so slow. It kind of like, do I really want to watch this? Maybe it's just me. I don't know if you share that as it happened to you guys, but there are whole when I say that they are on a completely different speed. It's so entertaining. But I want to know your thoughts, Eddie, about the cheetah effect and the effect of Tyreek Hill on the Dolphins.
Well, to your point right there, watching other games is it's Mike McDaniel too, just the way he sets up his offense. You watch these other guys that just go up to the line, and you're like, you're so spoiled from motion, crazy handoffs, flips. It's crazy now. But as for the Tyreek effect, he's all right. He's no Leggadu Nene or whatever we got way back in the day.
Wow, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah. Cheetah is he's great in the locker room. He gets them fired up during the game. He's fired up. He doesn't let anybody get down. He's a great teammate. I was watching an interview or his podcast, Darius Slay, who we had just played the week before, one of the corners. And he said, "You do not realize how fast he is until you're on the field with him. There's nothing comparable to anybody else, how fast he is. And not only is he fast now, but he has learned to run routes with the best guys in the NFL, as good as anybody in the NFL. It just makes him that much more dangerous. He's the funnest player we've had in a long, long time. And he opens up the offense. And I look forward to seeing him every week. I was so scared when they said he hurt. Not him.
Yeah, and credit also to Mike McDaniel. You can have the best weapon in the world, but Mike McDaniel he's on another level compared to when we was with the Chiefs. They say when he's with Dolphins, he's gonna catch a 5-yard passes, and he's gonna regret it so much, and he's up his game. And Mike McDaniel has opened up the offense for him, and it's just incredible. Steve, any last thought about the cheat effect, the effect that Tyreek Hill has had on the offense?
I know this is the cheetah segment, and I hinted at it before, and it's really it's a combination of what the team is built around Tua, and it's what Mike McDaniel envisioned. It's when he was, when he first met face to face with Tua, and they sat down, went through like 700-800 plays or something like that on film, where McDaniel charted everything out and was able to go through them and build that prototypical offense that he knew that very few quarterbacks could run, and run it with precision and consistency. And they built that speed around him and what did it with the discipline. It's another thing from the cheetah effect. It's, again, he is a professional and he wants to be the best, and he doesn't just say, hey, I'm going to wake up and be the best, and grabs a bag of Cheetos and just goes about doing what he wants to do and just being lazy. He goes out and he executes on it and shows the other players what they need to do to execute that offense to a T, and they hold each other accountable by action of how they do it. Eddie, you made a good point. He doesn't let the other people get down. He's picking people up off the ground, and while we're seeing players throw their helmets and get upset when they have a loss or something like that, we haven't seen, knock on wood, Tyreek yet throw his helmet or, scream in a quarterback's face or anything like that because he's not getting the ball and he only puts up 80 yards or something like that. So it's really impressive. It's great. Again, Sammy, you're talking about watching other games. I could have, granted, it was because they were playing the Bills and they had a chance to beat them at 3 opportunities from the 1-yard line. They failed to. But seeing how the New York Giants showed up against Buffalo and literally had 3 opportunities, 1 at the end of the first half and 2 opportunities from the 1-yard line at the end of the game, and their best option was to just simply put Saquon Barkley in a single back set behind the quarterback and try to trick a team into doing what they're doing. And I'm like, Mike McDaniel would never do that. There would be wide receivers moving around setting and then Tyreek going on a quick split to confuse the living hell out of the defense. And does the speed, do those routes that Cheetah runs intimidate and change the way teams have to play? Absolutely. And as much as teams want to try to repeat and copy what we're doing, they're not going to be able to.
Absolutely. And Mike McDaniel is key. That's why I truly believe that he's not gonna let Tua. He's not gonna let Tyreek take a loss against his former team this Sunday. He has to know that for Tyreek, this game is huge. Players don't say, no, it's not just another game. Just ask Ryan Tannehill a couple of years ago when he said it just was another game, and after he got the win, he was like celebrating like a baby. So, yeah, it's huge for him. Right? And Mike McDaniel, as a player's coach, he knows how big this game is for Tyreek. So I'm sure he's going to do whatever. The whole team is going to do whatever it takes, but especially Mike McDaniel, whatever it takes for Tyreek to take this win. It's a huge win for him personally, probably. So next we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this Sunday showdown from Frankfurt, Germany against the defending Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs.
Miami, if they had to play Miami at that time of the year, what would happen? Buffalo in that situation. Kansas City, to me, needs home field advantage more this year than they've needed it.
Swagoo, I couldn't disagree with you more. I think that you are completely lost with this take. And let me explain to you why. First of all, let's get something historical out of the way, Doggy. You'll appreciate this. You remember that 1972 team that Mercury Morris keeps nauseating us over with about how undefeated they were in 72 when they won the Super Bowl. They went undefeated. They went back-to-back Super Bowls that year. After that, they played in the Super Bowl in 1984 when Dan Marino threw for over 5,000 yards. This is 1984. Dan Marino threw for over 5,000 yards and 48 touchdowns when he had Mark Super Duper and Mark Clayton to throw the damn football to, okay? They were big time, no doubt about that. You realize that the Miami Dolphins haven't been back to the Super Bowl since? Well, let's get that out. They're about to go up against the reigning defending Super Bowl champions who we all anticipate will be in the playoffs. So the word need with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, I don't think is applicable here. Let's also add the level of pressure swagger that we're talking about here. You got Tua Tagovailoa leading the league in passing yards and tied for the league in touchdown passes, okay? But what is their record against it in their 6 wins? Their 6 wins, none have come against winning teams. All of them have come against losing teams with a combined record of 13-33. That's where all 6 of their victories have come from. But when they went up against competition in Buffalo, and when they went up against competition in Philadelphia, in Buffalo they got bum rushed. In Philadelphia they got beat. So I'm looking at it from that perspective. And I'm looking at those 2 losses. All of a sudden, Tua diminishes to 250 yards passing per game with a total of 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he's sacked 7 times. And oh, by the way, they've been outscored 79-37. And defensively, they've allowed 9 touchdowns in 12 trips to the red zone. All I'm saying to you is this. Let's look at those numbers. Let's take into consideration the level of competition. So when the big boys show up, you can't be found. When the little boys show up, you stomp. And we're supposed to celebrate that. Well, the big boys are the ones you're going to play in the playoffs. or in games like this. That's in Germany, which, by the way, that's a damn miss by the NFL because a game of this magnitude should have been on home turf, in the United States of America. Respect to Frankfurt Germany, but damn it, I don't give a damn. I want you here in the United States with a game like that. But that's beside the point. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is this. Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, and the crew got to show us they can show up when it counts against a team the quality of what you're going to have to face if indeed you're a legit Super Bowl contender.
And lost in the shuffle is, here's Tyreek Hill, one of the greatest Chiefs of all time, who was supposed to be playing in Arrowhead and be seen by those fans, maybe the only time they're going to see him. And he was going to get a warm reception, I think, because Chiefs fans are very grateful for Tyreek. They love Tyreek, and they understand that this is a business. And maybe they was sour at first that he left, but you know what? We won a Super Bowl anyway. It wasn't like it was Tyreek left and the thing fell apart. I think I'm almost a little, I hate to say the word.
You can say it, Peter. Go on.
The game is going to be huge. It's going to be in Germany. It's a whole thing. For Tyreek to get that reception in Arrowhead, I thought would have been pretty cool. And to see him there, what's interesting is this part one? Is Tyreek going to get that opportunity to do it, but with bigger stakes?
Yeah, there you go.
Are they going to Arrowhead in the playoffs? Is this a preview of the AFC Championship game? So to me, it's the Tyreek story. And is it, I'm going to show out in front of my old team. I know my fans aren't in the stadium for this one. But if we do show out, and if we do put this performance on, I get that opportunity with even bigger stakes later on. Over or under? I think we're going to get 10 million viewers on the NFL Network on Saturday morning. I think it's going to be a monster game. I think you're going to get a lot of love or a lot of criticism if you don't call this game as well as you should. I do think it's a major moment for the league in Germany, major moment for this network. I am a little crestfallen that Tyreek doesn't get that opportunity Arrowhead to do this thing.
Week 9 game.
It's not me playing against Pat playing against me. It's our offense having to go against their defense, their offense having to go against our defense.
It has been all business for Tua here in Frankfurt. However, on his day off, he was able to go out, see the city a little bit, and tee it up.
It's been pretty cool. We've been able to go check the city out. Been able to go to maybe 2 places to get some drinks and then also try some food. But for the most part, it's been pretty cool. I got to go golf with a couple guys as well.
Still, first and forward on Tua's mind, keeping the Finns ahead of the defending champion Chiefs on Sunday.
Any opportunity for us to play a team that has been to the Super Bowl within the last couple years or the last year and has won it, I think that's always a great challenge. And for our team to have this opportunity to go against a Pat Mahomes team, it'll be fun and it'll give us a chance to see where we're at going into this bye week as a team.
Meanwhile, the rest of Tua's bunch are beginning to get healthy just in time.
And I'm sure with the talent on our team on paper, you could say that we got a hell of a team, which we do. But we're not really focused on that. We're focused on how to improve ourselves, day in, day out. Focus on technique, fundamentals, things like that.
Like the rest of the team, Tua seems very comfortable here in Germany, even learning a bit of the local language.
How are you doing? And so I think I can say that pretty good, but I don't think so. Yeah, hallo, wie geht's dir? I think that's how you say it.
Getting that out. But basically, is it game of the year until the next one, or the last one? You can see the media is going all over again about the same thing about the Dolphins cannot get the big win. They cannot beat the team with on the road. It's the same old rhetoric, but this game is on a neutral field, so the Dolphins probably are going to have I'd rather have the whole neutral field than going to Germany and the whole field advantage that presents. But I want to know your thoughts about the game, Steve, about the game against the defending Super Bowl champion Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
There's no denying how dominant the Chiefs have been. In my opinion, they're probably one near-term Super Bowl win away from being a dynasty. Phenomenal team. I take issue with what Stephen A. Smith said there, talking about how I miss the context around what they're really saying, But who really needs this game more? I think both teams clearly need a victory here, because this will determine who is the leading team in the AFC in this conference. But Patrick Mahomes, aside from Super Bowl on neutral sites and everything, he's never played a playoff game away from home. Who is this more important to? Tua doesn't play that well on the road in the spotlights and everything, sure. But who is Patrick Mahomes? Nobody knows other than in Super Bowl games, which I'm not going to deny his greatness of what he's done in those games. But let's be real, everybody needs this game. When you're 6-2 and the other team is 6-2, and this is to determine who is going to lead for the next week in the AFC, both teams need it just as badly. I feel like a broken record here. You want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Said that leading into Buffalo, leading into Philly. We got stomped, and then we fell flat. Didn't really put together much of a game against Philly. But this is true. Defending Super Bowl champs, the Chiefs are the best. It's undeniable. And I think that it's a prime opportunity. Again, I can't emphasize enough how fantastic it is to have our team starting to come together healthy. The impact that Ramsey is going to have on the backside of that defense, Javon Holland coming in back off the concussion protocol. I think that it's a very, very good time to really test that measure of dominance of what the Chiefs can be.
Absolutely. Matt, what are your thoughts about Sunday's game against the defending Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs?
So much to unpack here, starting off with Stephen A. Smith's comments. My biggest thorn in my side is when people talk strength of schedule. It's artificial. It's made up. It is a narrative to expand upon talking points. The strength of schedule is irrelevant. I talked about this a couple episodes ago because of so many things that change from one season to the next, from one game to the next. The strength of schedule is irrelevant because injuries occur. You can call it whatever you want. Did they lose to the Bills and the Eagles? Yeah, they really lost to the Bills. And the Eagles game, I can sit here and argue all day long that they were in that game, but they lost, and that's not debatable. And I didn't know what their wins, the winning record, or the record of their opponents was for all of the games they won. But I'm going to stand on this and explain to anybody that hears my voice, strength of schedule is a mirage. It's not real. There's nothing about that, simply because there's too many things, number one, that cannot be controlled, and number two, every one of those teams is an NFL team. So I will bet money that the majority of the media, who absolutely knows everything about this game, picked the Dolphins to be last place in the AFC East when they projected the 2023 season. And I challenge anybody to debate me on that. The Bills, the front runner. The Jets, up and coming. The Patriots, they're the Patriots. Who's left in last place? So it's an easy thing to say, well, they haven't beaten anybody. Hey, guys, y'all are the ones that put them in last place. So who's really the bad team here? Let's give props to where it's due. The Kansas City Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champs, man. You got an opportunity to go out there. Steve, I think you just said, to be the man, you got to beat the man, right? Woo! Woo! Ric Flair. So let's go do that. It's not in Miami. I'd prefer that. Last time we played in Miami, boy, they almost pulled that off, right?
Yes.
That sack that Jerome Baker had on
25
that was like something
yards.
out of Madden. I've never been so excited in my life. He actually got the sack. In our lives, that's always gotten away from us. And in that particular play, oh my God, we were in that game.
Yes.
Is this Dolphins team better than that Dolphins team? Yeah, absolutely it is. So let's go over to Frankfurt and let's put our Dukes up. Xavier Howard will be back. He's the league leader in interceptions since he entered the league. Who's that on the other side? Oh, that's right, number 5. Hi, number 5. I said on this show last week, show me a strong defensive line, and I'll show you an all-pro defensive backfield. And that's all I really got to say about that. Let's go. I can't wait for Sunday. I cannot wait for it because I think the Dolphins are going to pull this off. I'll make my prediction later in the show, but you asked my thoughts on the Chiefs. They're the ones that need to ice up, son. They're the ones that need to buckle up. Let's go.
We're coming, baby. How about you, Eddie? What are your thoughts about this Sunday's game in Frankfurt, Germany? It's the defending Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs.
I think that this is the time that Miami is going to go in fired up instead of like Buffalo against us when we were high flying and Philadelphia coming off the loss. I don't know why. I know Denver lost. They lost to Denver last week. Don't care about that. I just think Miami is primed. I think the team wants to win for Tyreek. Um, I just believe Miami wants this game. They want to get that monkey off their back. I'm sure they're tired of hearing about it too. They have to be if they even pay attention to it, which they probably don't. But I don't know. I have a feeling. Sometimes my feelings get way off on when I feel like this, so I'm a little nervous. But I think Miami's going to win this game. I believe they're going to go in with that it factor this time that usually somebody brings against them, and I think they'll come out of their styling and profiling.
Yeah, baby. So we're gonna talk next about the keys to the game. First, when you have someone like Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the world, someone like probably we never seen before take the league by storm, uh, MVP of the league, everything. His scramble ability, when you think uh, if you saw the Netflix series quarterback, he's a competitor. He's always thinking about the game. So that's the kind of guy you want to. Even if he's not on your team, you respect that and you want him to succeed because he gets us into the game. So, but when you have someone like Patrick Mahomes, well, basically you know that, um, you know that he's a factor. He's the bigger factor in the game. So if the Dolphins can find a way to stop him, scramble ability, of course he's gonna go off as soon as they need him to. But if you can somehow limit his scramble ability, that 3rd and 10 where you think you got him and he starts scrambling, he gets the first down, like Josh Allen used to do so many times to the Dolphins. If the Dolphins can find a way this game to put a spine on him and contain that, the Dolphins probably gonna have a very good chance to win the game. That's my key to the game. So, Matt, what's your key to the game this Sunday?
After the Chargers game, we had some time to talk on this show about the Vic Fangio defense. What is going on? What are they doing? And I stood that day on the hill of it's the first game. Give them time. Let them absorb, let them learn, let them become a cohesive unit. And we're seeing that. They've talked about it. There's articles today in the Miami Herald regarding that specifically, how they feel, they being the defense, feel much more comfortable in what they're doing, in their reads, in everything that goes on out there in that window of time from play to play. They're also getting players back from injury, which can only make them stronger. And something that we talked about after the Philadelphia game, and I remember vividly telling you guys and anybody that can hear our voices, the Dolphins hurt Jalen Hurts. They pounded him.
Mm-hmm.
They got to him. They lead the league in quarterback hits. And I'm not a proponent for hurting anybody, but I do know that if you knock me down 10 times, I'm going to get up much slower after the 10th one than I did after the first one.
Mm-hmm.
This Dolphins defense, if you look at it from the back to the front, you've got corners that can cover. You got corners that can hurt you. You've got safeties that will jump a pass in a heartbeat. And while you're doing that, while you're trying to find your receiver, you've got 4 linemen that are looking to take your head off. I'm not saying that Mahomes is invincible, and I'm not saying that he can't be beat. I'm simply stating that if they get to him and they hurt him and they're close, the Dolphins have a chance. They've got a really good chance on Sunday.
Absolutely. Before I go to Eddie, I want to discuss a little bit about the injury report. They have Robert Hunt, Brandon Jones, Raheem Mostert, Darren Smythe all did not practice today. Teron Armstead back in practice today. That's huge for the Dolphins. River Craycraft, Xavier Howard, Nick Needham, Jalen Ramsey, and Connor Williams Limited, and Alec Ingold, and is back as Alec Ingold practice today. But I want to know your thoughts about the. Let me go back here again. Something's messed up over here, and here we go. I want to know your thoughts about the game, the keys to the game for Sunday's game against the Chiefs, Eddie.
Put you guys on Travis Kelce. Do not let him beat you. I don't hear the receivers. I know the Rice kid is starting to come up pretty big now for him. But you have two great corners out there because I'm pretty sure X is playing this week. So got to cover that middle of the field, Kelsey. And if he catches it, hit him, knock him down. Don't let him go for 20 extra yards. Stop the run because he wears number 10, and his name Isaiah Pachenko is pretty physical runner, and he's pretty good. But my keys are hit Mahomes early and often, make him keep getting up off the field, cover Travis Kelce. I do love the fact that Jalen Ramsey can hit with the best DBs in football. He last week had 3 passes thrown at him. One was 5 yards, one was not complete, one was intercepted. He also knocked the ball out of Ezekiel Elliott's hands. So caused some turnovers, get some good field position, stay on top, score touchdowns, hold them to field goals. That's my key. Kelsey's my biggest key.
Yeah, definitely Casey huge. Steve, I want to know your keys to the game against the Chiefs on Sunday.
I'm disappointed to see Mostert on there. Hopefully, it's just precautionary and he's going to be able to get back.
Last Wednesday, he didn't practice either. I think they give him the day off.
Hopefully, it's not a. What's that, Eddie? You're breaking up a little bit. What?
Sorry, same as last week. He was on there.
Okay. Well, hopefully he can make it back because we really can't afford to lose that. Our running game has been meager, and I had some defensive stats pulled up here, but I've moved on to different looks on my browser here. But keys to the game, underrated, absolutely underrated. Mom's a Bills fan, and she was griping, complaining for 10 days after they went over to London and ended up losing to a team that was able to stay in London over the weekend because they played back-to-back games over there. And her one thing was they had an unfair advantage, and all I said to her is, well, we're not going to play back-to-back games in Germany, but I really hope the Dolphins look at this and say, we're going to leave early. And I couldn't believe my ears when Sunday night they said that the Dolphins were going to be leaving for Germany on Monday. Huge, underrated move to get Miami there. They're not there for the experience. They're not there so Tua can go hit some golf course outside of Frankfurt. Is it nice and cool for him? Sure, absolutely. They're getting the experience.
And he did. He said he played golf today, so he did.
That's why I said it. Yeah, but that's not why he's over there. He's over there because McDaniel and co said, "Hey, you know what? Let's go over there. Let's get ourselves acclimated because there is going to be a big difference of feeling like you're playing a game at 9:30 in the morning on Sunday." What's the Chiefs' time zone? Are they 1 or 2 hours behind us?
Well, the game's on 3:30 on Sunday for them.
Yeah, sure, 3:30 over there, but it's going to be 8:30 Kansas City's time in their brains. So let's wake up at 1 in the morning, get ourselves prepped up, taped up, stretched out, and then we're going to get out on a field and play football. Underrated move. Real key to the games. More than anything, very little is more frustrating than seeing a quarterback get 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds in the pocket to back out there, dance around. We don't get a flag for holding, and then they run for a first down, or they extend it to the point where they think they're going to run, and then they chuck it downfield for Kelsey or anybody else that can catch the ball. They really need to just not give that amount of time. I have confidence that our defensive backs are going to create an issue for their wide receivers to get open, but we need our defensive line to get home. We need AVG to be back there to be able to get home, throw some looks that really confuse them. Matt, you brought it up in that game when Baker did that big sack and everything. Every quarterback, you knock them off their game. It doesn't matter how great they are. 3-time first-team All-Pro Patrick Mahomes can get rattled, and you start getting in his head, and he's not sure what's going to happen and if he's going to get hit. That's going to do it. So, and Eddie, you had said it before. It's refreshing to see a defense that swarms. That's one of the things, I can't stand watching afternoon games after watching the fastest show on surf, race up and down the field and seeing them move like, molasses. It's frustrating sometimes to see our defense not swarm and then watching some teams really just, 49ers come to mind. They have that defense that just swarms to the ball. And we saw that last week against the Patriots. And I really think that that's going to be key to limiting their gains. Swarm to Kelsey, take him down, don't give him those big catches. I really feel confident about this. I agree. I think that being on that neutral site, we're going to come out with a level of energy that would we be hyped up if this was at Arrowhead in Kansas City? Absolutely. I think that we would be, but the crowd and everything would take it out of us. I really think that there's going to be an attitude and an aura about this team. Hopefully the adrenaline doesn't get too much of them and they don't get discouraged if, we go down, a score or two, but I don't think that's really going to happen. I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Absolutely. To your point, I heard Travis Winfield today say on the official Dolphins podcast that the teams that travel early are 2-0. So it matters. It apparently matters. So you get acclimated. It's a long, long trip. So it's huge for the Dolphins to travel before. So I think it was a great move. And I truly believe that the whole team, they're not gonna say that. They're not gonna say they're praying for Tyreek, but I do believe that the whole team wants to win this game for Tyreek. Yeah, I really do. So.